Level 1. The small-time hustler. You are 19 years old. You live in a grey, post-industrial city where the rain smells like rust and the streetlights flicker with a low electric hum that gets inside your skull after a while. The neighborhood you grew up in was built in the 70s for factory workers who no longer exist. Half the buildings are boarded up. The ones that aren't have laundry hanging from every balcony and the smell of cheap cooking oil drifting from open windows. You have never had a real job. Not one that lasted more than 2 weeks, anyway. Your real education started at 15 when you watched an older kid run three-card Monte near the Central Market. You studied him for weeks. The way he talked, the way he let people win the first 2 times, the exact moment he sped up the shuffle. By 16, you were running your own table. By 17, you had added the found wallet routine and the fake gold watch scam. You are fast with your hands and even faster with your mouth. You can make a stranger feel like they are the smartest person in the world right before you take their money. Most days you make enough for cigarettes, instant noodles, and the occasional bottle of cheap beer. Some days you eat nothing. You sleep in a tiny room above a laundromat that always smells of detergent and damp concrete. The single window looks out onto a brick wall covered in faded graffiti. You have learned to fall asleep to the sound of the washing machines thumping below. One cold October afternoon, the sky is the color of old concrete and the wind cuts through your thin jacket. You set up near the bus station because the crowds are thick and people are distracted. You spot him immediately. A man in his 40s wearing a dark wool coat that looks expensive even from 30 meters away. He is talking loudly on his phone, waving one hand. Clearly important, clearly in a hurry. Perfect mark. You start the 3-card Monte routine with your usual patter. Your voice is friendly, confident, just a little cocky. The cards move fast, but not too fast. You let him win the first small bet. He laughs, feels smart, doubles down. The second time you let him win again. Now he is hooked. On the third round, you speed up the shuffle just enough. His eyes follow the wrong card. He puts down $200. You take it with a sympathetic smile and start packing up like the game is over. He stops you. One more, double or nothing. You pretend to hesitate. He pulls out another $300. You shuffle again, slower this time, letting him think he has figured out the pattern. He points at the card on the left. You flip it. Queen of Hearts. Wrong again. You are counting $500 in your head when a heavy hand lands on your shoulder. The voice is calm, but cold. Police. Don't move. Your stomach drops so fast you feel dizzy. The man in the wool coat is already walking away without looking back. You twist hard, shove the cop's arm and sprint into the crowd. Cards fly everywhere. Money flutters into puddles. People shout. You hear the cop yelling behind you. You run 6 blocks, lungs burning, heart slamming against your ribs. You cut through an alley, vault over a low fence, and dive headfirst into a large metal dumpster behind a kebab shop. Inside it is dark and warm and smells like rotting meat, old grease and wet cardboard. You stay perfectly still. You hear the cop's radio crackle somewhere nearby. You stay there for almost 4 hours, breathing through your mouth, trying not to gag. When you finally crawl out, it is fully dark. Your clothes are soaked and stinking. Your hands are shaking so badly you can barely light a cigarette. You count what is left in your pocket. $47. You walk home in the rain. Every car that passes makes you flinch. When you finally reach your room, you sit on the edge of the narrow bed and stare at the wall. You are not crying. You are not even angry. You are thinking very clearly about what just happened. You let yourself get cocky. You stayed in one spot too long. You trusted that the mark was alone. You made the same mistake the older kid made 2 years ago when he got caught. That night, you make a list on the back of an old receipt. 3 rules. Never run the same game in the same place twice in 1 week. Always have 2 exit routes before you start. Never trust that a mark is alone. You fold the receipt and put it in your wallet. Then you lie down on the bed, still in your wet clothes, and stare at the ceiling until the washing machines below shut off and the building goes quiet. Level 2, the street grifter. You are 22. You have graduated from working alone. You now run with a crew of 3 other guys who also grew up in the same neighborhood. You are the talker, the face, the one who makes the mark feel safe. The others handle the setup and the getaway. You have moved up to bigger games, fake lottery tickets sold outside the post office, investment opportunities in non-existent construction projects, helping confused tourists recover money from fake online scams. The money is better. You eat in actual restaurants now. You bought a second-hand leather jacket that makes you look older. You even have a small savings account for the first time in your life. The crew works well together for almost a year. You develop a rhythm. You know each other's tells. You can communicate with just a look across a crowded square. The money flows. You start to feel almost untouchable. Then one Thursday afternoon, everything changes. You're running a fake lottery ticket game near the train station. The mark is a middle-aged woman who just received a pension payout. She is nervous but excited. You have already taken $1,200 from her. She's about to hand over another $800 when you see your partner, the quiet one who usually handles the money, signal someone across the square. Two plainclothes officers appear out of nowhere. Your partner grabs the entire stack of cash and sprints in the opposite direction. You have less than 3 seconds to react. You shove the woman aside, knock over the small table, and run. You hear shouting behind you. You cut through the station, jump onto the tracks, and disappear into the rail yard. You hide inside an empty freight car for 6 hours. The metal is freezing. You can hear rats moving in the darkness. When you finally climb out, it is past midnight and you are alone. Your partner took everything. The money, the tickets, even the small stash you kept in a locker at the bus station. You walk back to your apartment in the rain. The leather jacket is ruined. Your shoes are full of water. When you open the door, you already know what you will find. The apartment has been emptied. Your clothes, your fake documents, even the small television, gone. On the kitchen table, there is a single piece of paper with one sentence written in your partner's handwriting. Sorry, I needed a fresh start. You sit on the floor in the empty room for a long time. You do not feel angry, you feel something colder and quieter. You realize you broke your own rule from 3 years ago. You trusted someone completely. You let yourself believe that loyalty existed in this world. That night, you make a new list. Never work with the same people for more than 6 months. Never keep all the money in one place. Never let anyone know where you sleep. You burn the old receipt with the first 3 rules. Then you pack what little is left into a backpack and leave the city before sunrise. Level 3. The online scammer. You are 25, you have gone fully digital. After the betrayal, you spent 6 months living in cheap hostels and moving every few weeks. You taught yourself basic coding from free tutorials in internet cafes. You learned how to create convincing fake websites, how to spoof email addresses. You started small. Romance scams on dating sites, fake tech support calls, phishing emails that looked like they came from banks. Now you have a system. You rent a small apartment in a different city under a fake name. You have 3 monitors on a cheap desk. You have templates for messages that have been tested and refined over hundreds of conversations. You know exactly what to say to a lonely widow in her 60s. You know how to sound professional and slightly urgent when you call someone about a problem with their computer. One night you are working late. The apartment is dark except for the glow of the screens. You have been talking to a woman named Margaret for 3 weeks. She is 68, lives alone in a small town, and lost her husband 2 years ago. You have been patient. You have sent her poems. You have listened to her stories about her grandchildren. Tonight she is ready to send you $40,000. You are typing the final instructions when something feels wrong. The way she phrased her last message was too clean. The grammar was perfect. You open another window and run a quick search on the photos she sent you weeks ago. They are stock images from a photography site. You check the IP address she has been using. Your hands go cold. You delete every message, every photo, every trace. You pull the hard drive from the computer, smash it with a hammer, and throw the pieces into different dumpsters on your way out of the city. You take only the laptop and one small bag. You do not sleep for 2 days. When you finally stop in a cheap motel, you sit on the edge of the bed and stare at the wall. You came so close. If you had sent the banking details even 30 minutes later, you would be in custody right now. You realize the game has changed. The people on the other side are no longer just marks. Some of them are hunters. That night you add a new rule to your list. Never trust a mark who seems too perfect. Always assume someone is watching. Level 4. The business con. You are 28. You create a legitimate-looking investment fund with a professional website, glossy brochures. You hire 2 young guys who do not ask too many questions. You wear proper suits now. You speak at investment seminars in hotel conference rooms. You take money from doctors, engineers, retired teachers. People who should know better. The money is better than anything you have seen before. You have a real apartment with a view. You have a car that does not break down every month. You even have a girlfriend who thinks you work in finance. Then one of your biggest investors, a 78-year-old man who put in almost $200,000, dies of a heart attack. His children, who never liked the investment in the first place, hire a private detective. You get the first warning at 2 a.m. from a contact in the police department. You have maybe 12 hours before the detective arrives at your office with questions you cannot answer. You spend the night emptying everything. You load filing cabinets, computers, and boxes of fake documents into a rented van. You wipe the hard drives. You burn the brochures in the alley behind the building. By 5 a.m, the office is empty. You drive the van to a scrapyard and pay cash to have everything crushed. Then you go home, pack a single suitcase, and leave the city before your girlfriend wakes up. You do not leave a note. You spend the next 3 months moving between cheap hotels in different countries. You lose almost everything you had built. The car is repossessed. The apartment is gone. You update your rules again. Never stay in one place longer than 6 months. Level 5. The big league player. You are 32. You run fake oil deals, forged government contracts, and exclusive shares in non-existent tech companies. You have 3 different passports and 4 different names during what should have been your biggest deal yet, a $40 million oil field investment in Dubai. Your main partner, a man you have worked with for almost 2 years, decides you know too much. At 2 a.m, 2 large men knock on the door of your suite. You escape through the service elevator, still in a bathrobe and hotel slippers. You lose the entire deal. You nearly lose your life. You add another rule. Never let any single partner know everything. Always keep one card hidden. Level 6. The international con man. You are 35. Then in Singapore, during what should have been a routine closing meeting for a $30 million deal, Interpol kicks in the door. It turns out they were not even looking for you. They were looking for a man who looked almost exactly like you. You are held for 48 hours while they sort out the mistake. During those 48 hours, your trusted local partners drain every account they can access. When you are finally released, you have less than $5,000 left in the world. You update your rules one more time. Never keep large amounts of money in any single jurisdiction. Level 7. The mastermind. You are 38. You no longer run the cons yourself. You design them. You have a small, carefully chosen crew. Then you discover that one of your own crew members has been feeding information to a federal agency for the last 8 months. The biggest operation you have ever designed is about to collapse. You spend 3 sleepless nights turning the situation around. You pull it off, but the cost is high. You lose 2 people you actually trusted. You add the final rule. Never let anyone know the full picture, ever. Level 8, the near legend. You are 41. You pull off what should have been the perfect con. A major European bank loses $47 million. At a private airport in Eastern Europe, seconds before you board a chartered jet, the entire system lights up. You escape with nothing but a single encrypted drive and the clothes on your back. Level 9, the almost caught legend. You are 44. One night on a quiet beach in Southeast Asia, the doors of your villa explode inward. You jump from the second-floor balcony into the warm ocean. You swim 200 meters to a waiting boat, clutching only a waterproof bag. You disappear into international waters while helicopters search the coastline. Level 10. The legend. You are 48. They say you finally retired. Nobody knows for sure. One quiet afternoon, you start a small, almost playful scam against a local businessman. You do it the old way. 3-card Monte. You let him win twice. You take his money on the 3rd round, and for one brief, stupid moment, you stay in the same spot too long. You hear the sound of a police radio crackling nearby. You run, you hide, you escape. Later that evening, you sit on the veranda of your villa, swirling a glass of whiskey. You are smiling, but it is not a happy smile. It is the smile of someone who finally understands something important. The game never really ends. It just gets more expensive. And you have been playing it for 29 years. You are very good at it. You are also very tired. The cycle continues.